So,
Yeah.
okay.
Speaking of my shirt, I'm glad you brought the shirt up. I want to
Woo.
give a quick shout out to my brother AJ Throwback. So weird calling him that because I don't call him that, but that's how the industry and a lot of people know him. But
You
um,
mean brother, AJ, or throwback? Come on, give us some context.
all of it.
All right, cool. All right, gotcha.
But no. AJ Throwback because I call him Joe. But
Got you.
um, but this is from his clothing line right here.
Mm-hmm.
I've been 5/5 since 5/5 been. We ain't never been 3/5. So
Oh,
I
got you.
just wanted.
I appreciate this minor history lesson there. Just for a second, it had to sink in because I wasn't sure what we were talking about.
Yeah, I just wanted to shout him out real quick.
Word up.
Yeah, yeah, he had a lot going on. I'm so mad. I meant to get his get all the information so people would know where to go to pick up his to be able to like get his clothes from his clothing line, even his music, all this stuff. But we got time. We got another show coming
Yeah,
up. I'll do it.
text him now and see if he texts you before the show is over.
No, also the
No.
reason I don't want to text him right now is because I also want to wish him and his wife a happy 14th anniversary. So they're out celebrating their birthday.
Nice,
So I
nice.
am
Happy
not going to text
anniversary.
him right now.
Word up. Happy anniversary, Joe.
Yeah.
Throwback brother AJ. To you and the missus, super duper dope. 14 years is no easy win, son. It is
Nah.
no easy win. All right.
Yeah.
For those of
Yeah.
y'all that's on within that first 5, please just keep pushing. It's a beautiful thing when you get here. All right. It's a beautiful thing. I'm going on 14 come September, so it's a beautiful thing. Anyway, welcome, Quotes and Mirrors, episode 19. We still pushing. I'm enjoying the show every single episode. Absolutely every single episode. For those of you new listeners, we are called Quotes and Mirrors because what we do is we choose a quote and then we reflect on it from a couple of different perspectives. Sometimes it might be a little bit of a debate. Other times we pretty much on the same side of the issue until it gets gray. When it gets gray, then he threw his hands up. Interestingly enough, as bright as his shirt is over there, it gets pretty gray. So
It does. It does. Or it could just be black and white and mundane.
the mundane part, I did not appreciate, and you caught me right as I was embracing.
I know, right?
Black
Well, I tell you, that timing is
Oh,
everything.
He set me up. You know, you think people love you. You think that. You know what I mean? At any rate, we got an interesting quote on this evening. It is from the illustrious Mr. Tyrell James. His selection, by the way, not his quote.
Right.
But,
Right, because it's from the illustrious Mike Tyson.
yeah, I call him illustrious. Oh, virtually to his face, behind his back, all that. Keep it illustrious, right? That's what's up. Because if you've been watching the social media lately, he still got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still got it, and he will give it to you.
Yeah, he will, and it's gonna hurt.
Right. So why don't you tell us what Mr. Mike had to say, Mr. Tyson,
So,
the illustrious
Tyson, Mike Tyson's quote is, "Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." This has been one of my favorite quotes for a long time. Now, so I have an article up here. It's some site called commit.works.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go ahead and give them their props since I'm taking information from them. So,
Oh, okay.
but otherwise we don't do that here. But anyway, since when Mike Tyson was asked by a reporter whether he was worried about Evander Holyfield and his fight plan, he answered, "Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." So what Tyson said is similar to the old saying, "No plan survives first contact with the enemy."
No plan survives first contact with the enemy. Now,
Right. Because sometimes you got to pivot.
no,
You got to
understood, but I think that might be way too widespread a blanket to say that no plan survives first contact. You said with the enemy,
right.
so no plan.
And when they say enemy, I believe that they're pretty much saying obstacles
Of any sort, right?
Right.
But okay. Well, actually, okay. Okay, I got you. I got you. Okay, because I'm thinking, I'm thinking first contact. Period. Right.
Okay,
But you talking about something that an obstacle comes into play, something that wasn't prepared. You weren't prepared for. Okay, I got you. I immediately got on the fence right there. So
that's what you do.
yeah, that is kind of. I ain't gonna lie. I am who I am, and I said what I said. All right.
And it is what it is.
Till it ain't what it was.
Well,
right.
I mean, I love this quote for a couple reasons. Number one, if we, you know what, let's start with the superficial side of this instead of going deep. Let's keep this in the literal sense of punching somebody in the mouth.
Yeah, you like that space. Go ahead.
I do. Because the reason that I like that, okay, I tell you what, let's you know, we start talking about the quote and then the conversation grows legs and we go to other places. Right. I'm about to go somewhere else already.
Okay, but run in a circle so somehow we get back here.
Oh, yeah, we coming back. We got to come
All
back.
Right, cool.
So, I'm a firm believer in punching people in the mouth.
Body language is aggressive.
Oh, my bad. I'm a firm believer. Is it okay if I do spirit fingers?
It's not okay for you to call them spirit fingers. Right? You can do them, just don't call them that. But anyway, hold on. Go ahead.
I'm a firm believer in punching people in my. I think that there is a lot of things that can be. Well, all right. Let me put it this way. I feel that people should be held accountable, and some people need to be held accountable by being punched in the mouth. I think that it's a lot of people at a certain age when they're younger. Had they been punched in the mouth, they wouldn't have been running their mouth so much when they got older. Sometimes running your mouth gets you into trouble. Sometimes running your mouth can lead you to death. It could lead you to jail. It could lead you to some really, really bad places that you can never come back from. But just because we've seen the way things escalate, the smallest thing can turn into the biggest thing. But when somebody runs their mouth a little too much, and not just running their mouth, but when they are never held accountable by their actions, then they feel as though they can get away with anything.
Okay. So from one perspective, you're saying this is about accountability.
Yeah. It's about accountability. Yeah, and that's why I say I'm a firm believer in punching people in the mouth. I think that some people need to be punched in the mouth.
Okay, so we building right now. We got the idea of needing to pivot in the presence of opposition, right?
I tell you what, let's bring it back there.
Well, I mean, if I could just finish my thought, jeez.
You got to punch me in the mouth about it.
I'm just saying. I don't know who else I would hold accountable at this point. You know
As you were.
Well, I'm just keeping a mental note that we have the perspective of pivoting in the presence of opposition as well as holding individuals accountable. Those are two different perspectives we got right now. Okay, cool. So we building now. I'm curious. I would like to ask Mike a question. I would like to ask Mike, did he include himself when he said that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth? Because considering his profession, right? Mm-hmm. Considering his motivation, I would imagine he made this statement from a position of arrogance and from a position of him disrupting everybody else's plan by being the punch in the mouth. But I'm curious as to whether or not he himself considered what would happen if I get punched in the mouth, because it happened. It happened, and the response was real drastic. Cannibalistic.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. I have never seen Mike as an arrogant person.
Really?
Yeah.
So the fine line between confidence and arrogance is what you're saying? That he's been.
No. I don't think it was confidence either. I think Mike went through so much that I believe that Mike spoke from a place of pain. in a lot of instances. And um, but also he's speaking from a competitive standpoint as well.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about sports here. So if somebody is saying that they're talking trash, or they're asking me about my opponent,
Mm-hmm.
and they're asking me how I plan on, I guess, maneuvering or just dealing with a certain opponent,
Right.
I may not always come across as humble. I'm not necessarily being cocky. I'm being competitive. I believe that there is that fine line between cockiness and humility when it comes to sports or anything
Mm-hmm.
competitive.
Mm-hmm.
That fine line is competition.
That fine line is competition.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe that fine line is competition because um you sometimes you talk for the, and I've done it. I've done it plenty of times. I talk also for the purpose of trying to talk somebody out of their game. I understand that there are two different battles that are going on the field, on the court, on the what in the boxing ring, whatever it is. I understand there are two different battles going on. There's the physical battle, but then there's the mental battle. And I know that if I can win the mental battle, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to win the physical battle. If I can convince you that I'm going to beat you, I've
Mm-hmm.
already won. Before the bell rings, I've already won. And so if you come to me and you tell me, all right, look, this person has a plan. They already have a plan in place.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of their plan? And I tell you, well, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Now
Mm-hmm.
I just put that in their head. I don't care what your plan is. I'm gonna punch you in the mouth.
Okay, so I get the competitive aspect, but I would still have to ride with the arrogance. You know why? Because in the midst, so you have to be a certain degree of arrogant in order to be that competitive, because you can't let him know that you're also considering you getting punched in the mouth.
I don't think that's arrogance, though. I think that's strategic.
It is if
I
it
think
was
that's
that
very strategic.
alone.
I think it's
If
competitive. I think it's go ahead.
I'm saying it is if it was that alone, but I think the arrogance definitely comes into play where you're projecting the fact that I'm going to be the punch in the mouth. I'm not going to be punched in the mouth. We're in a boxing match. We're in a sport where punches in the mouth is par for the course. But I'm not gonna get punched in the mouth. I'm going to be the punch in the mouth. Now, definitely, I get the competitiveness, but you got to have a certain amount of arrogance with that. You got to have that.
But I'm not saying that I'm not going to get punched in the mouth. And I can tell you firsthand from boxing, every single time I've stepped in the ring, I have expected to get hit. I expect it. So it's not that I don't think I'm going to get punched in the mouth. It's just that I think that when I punch you in the mouth, it's going to hurt you a lot more than it's going to hurt me.
Yeah, that's the arrogance I'm talking about.
Nah, it's competition.
It's I'm not saying it's not competition, but it's the arrogant part of competition.
What if it's the truth?
It's the truth to who? Because now you're getting real great. Because that's going to be your truth, right? That's what you
Yeah.
consider to be right. But
But
that's
but
what you
my
consider
truth
to
is
be
all that
your truth.
matters.
What?
My truth is all that matters.
But that's not an arrogant thought. That's not an arrogant statement. That my truth is all that matters. Are you
Could be a
kidding
little
me?
arrogant. That could be a little arrogant.
Are you kidding me?
That could be a tingsy winksy little
Just a
bit.
little bit. Just a little
Just a little
bit,
bit.
baby.
That's a little arrogant. Yeah.
It ain't got to be in all caps. It could just have a
Nah.
capital A, and then you know how be. You got to be kidding me. Almost cursed, man. Oh man. So that's all. I mean, I'm saying I understand that has to be a part of it, though. If you're gonna make this statement, because you definitely saying like, dude, one, if I hit when I hit you, it's gonna hurt you worse. It's gonna take you out. It's going to completely disrupt your plan. And of course, if you saying that, then you mean to be the first one to do that. Your plan is to disrupt his plan. You know what I'm saying? And you letting them know that. And I get it. I get it. You know, because excuse me. Hold on. What was the two things we were talking about? We were talking about from the perspective of pivoting in the way of opposition, and what was the other one? I said it. I can't.
Oh, what you said? I don't remember.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about what I
remember,
said.
No. Remember, I'm trying to remember. I was trying to tie it in, but we were talking about the two different perspectives that we had brought up so far, and that was pivoting in the way of opposition. Oh, and accountability. That's right. That's what
accountability.
That's what it was. Accountability. And now I forget exactly how I was going to tie it in. But at any rate, yeah. But I still like I was saying initially with Mike. I just wonder if he ever thought about that, because I don't think now, mind you, I'm not a real student of boxing as the sport or the profession, right? So I don't have a whole bunch of stats, anything like that. But matter of fact, I'm the worst kind of spectator. I only know highlight reels. Right? That's it. I only know what the internet has told me. You know what I mean? And when you see they got the reels that are on YouTube about the L's that Mike took, he wasn't prepared for them. He did not expect to take the L's. He expected to take the licks, but he expected to stick and move and roll with them. He didn't expect to take those L's. Come on, man. What kind of situation has your instinctive reaction to bite a man?
Hold up. Are you asking me? Because
I'm asking you.
I've never been
everybody listening.
I've never
no. Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying. Why not?
Well, I take that back. I have, but we're going into a little sexual situation.
No, we are not. We are not going
okay,
over there.
All right. Yeah. We won't talk about it then. We won't talk about it. I can bite sometimes. I mean, like, you want to bite? We'll bite. Like,
Ma, is Ma on the line? Ma,
probably. Mom's definitely probably. She knows me. She knows herself. I mean, whatever.
Yeah. All of us maybe shouldn't know everything. Jesus. But at any rate, I was just saying, I don't think he expected it. The way, to come the way he did, and his reaction says that he didn't. He wasn't ready to pivot in a way that didn't take him further down the wrong road. You know what I mean? And excuse me. So when I listen to this quote, I definitely think about it like that. Like, he right, first of all, you get punched in the mouth because it's a drastic situation to get punched in the mouth. There is no pleasant way to be punched in the mouth. You know what I mean? So whether this be figuratively speaking, metaphor, whatever, it's not a good thing, right? Mm-hmm. So I think you got to recognize. I think this simply just says you got to stay prepared, for anything. Kind of even, matter of fact, even more so prepared for the worst. When I was a kid, I would hurt myself. Hold on, that came out really strange. So not that I would hurt myself. When I hurt myself, like say at the park or something, if I fell and bruised the knee or something, right? Mm-hmm. Then I would press on my knee, like put all my strength into pressing on my knee to try to feel the worst of the pain, to see, all right, cool, I can deal with that. I'm good.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Because I still do that. What is wrong with? I thought I was the only person in the world that really?
Yeah. That was how I decided if I could keep playing. I would press it and I'd be like, yeah, all right, I'm good. I'm right. I keep playing.
But you grew out of it. Clearly, I didn't grow out of it. I still do it.
Right. It didn't become a condition, an ism or an obia. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It didn't become that. You still, I think you might have an issue. And honestly, Fonda, if you're listening, I'd appreciate you taking anything sharp out of the room that he might be in. I'll wait.
You don't know where all the weapons are hidden. So.
But yeah, so I would do that, but just in preparation for what happens if, as I continue to play, I hit this knee again. You know what I mean? Right. So that's definitely one way that I see the situation where I definitely had to. I was curious, like let me see how I could deal with it and how I need to pivot when it actually comes. And people need to prepare, like for that. I think I talked about earlier, and I don't necessarily. It's not a plug or anything, but I was reading Rick Ross' book. Remember I told you about that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And when he talks about being war ready, and that's what this is right here. You got to be war ready, son. I mean, from the perspective again of how you got to pivot in the presence of opposition. You know what I mean? You got to be war ready. But this ain't. This ain't what Mike was saying. I think Mike was full on saying, "Yeah, you're not going to be ready. There is no preparation for once I punch you in the mouth. You can forget about it. You're gonna walk away. You're gonna ease off just like that. You're just gonna ease right out the room just like that. And we're back.
It's like it never happened. So, all right. So the other side of this is, my boy Hoodfella said to me one time. He said, "Life isn't about what happens to you. Life is about how you react to what happens to you." So this is the other side of that quote. This is the, before I wanted to deal with the literal sense, but now I want to deal with that side. And so now I want to talk about being on the receiving end of the punch.
Okay.
So what do you do? How do you react when life happens? When life happens, I mean, there's certain things that are a lot of things that are just out of our control, completely out of our control. The only thing that we can control in any situation is ourselves. So, so when the unexpected happens, how do you pivot? You have a plan in place until life punches you in the mouth.
Right. And so, go ahead.
So it's the resilient people. It's the people who never back down, who may get knocked down, but then get right back up. It's the people who are successful, who are extremely successful, who have had to witness, like we were talking about, I believe it was last week when you mentioned, what was the quote? Well, you said something about success is failing, continuously failing until you.
Oh yeah, I was saying the success is a series of failures until you achieve. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Same thing. That's the same thing. Like with this quote. This is that's those series of failures are you getting punched in the mouth over and over and over. So so now it's like, okay, what do you do? How do you adjust when you get punched in the mouth? Now we can take it back to that fight with Mike and Evander Holyfield. Well, when Evander got punched in the mouth or got punched anywhere, he was able to pivot. And the fact of the matter is, the reason that Mike bit him was because Mike felt that it was getting out of his hand. He was losing control. He was losing control of the fight.
Yeah, so he didn't pivot. He panicked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now I believe he was taking some headbutts, and Evander Holyfield has a huge head. But that still doesn't give you the right to bite somebody's ear. But
I don't know. It sounds like you're excusing it. It sounds like you might be excusing it.
No, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, and this is so for anybody who has ever boxed, when you are going up against somebody who gets dirty, and I'm not saying that Evander Holyfield is a dirty fighter, but I'm talking about your perception. No, I'm talking about perception here. If Mike's perception was that he was being dirty by headbutting him, then that's Mike's perception. What I'm saying is,
hold on a second. Are you allowed to headbutt in boxing?
No, absolutely not.
Then if he was headbutting him, then that's not Mike's perception. That's fact.
No, they're accidental headbutts, though. That's the thing.
But so if Mike thought that give me the whole story, okay. I say you got to give me the whole story.
Oh, okay, yeah, my bad. So, so if Mike thought that Evander Holyfield was headbutting him on purpose, if that was his perception. So, when I teach people to box, I teach them the same way that one of my trainers taught me. He told me, he said, I'm going to teach you the right way to box. He said, then I'm going to teach you the dirty way. He said, I'm going to teach you some things to do when the ref is on one side, the ref is on the left side. I'm going to show you something to do on the right that the ref can't see. He said, if they want to get dirty, we get dirty too. I was like, cool, no problem. I don't mind getting dirty. So, getting that dirty, there's certain things that just should be off the table. Hitting somebody below the belt, don't do that. Biting their ear, don't do that. There's certain things that really should just be off the table. But there are other things, the accidental headbutts. There are a couple other little dirty things that you can do. So it's not always panicking. If my perception, if I'm in the ring and you're getting dirty, I may not feel like I may not necessarily panic. I've already had a plan in place for this. So you start getting dirty. Cool. I'll get dirty too.
So I'm going to bite your ear. So you think that was in the works?
No. What I'm saying is that's crossing the line. I'm saying there's certain things that really should be off the table you shouldn't do. That was crossing the line. But that's my rule. That may not be his rule. He could have said, you know what? I ain't going to panic, but it's snack time. I mean,
you know what? Nope.
It's getting.
I'm sorry.
The fight is getting out of my hands. It's getting away from me. If you can't beat them, eat them. So,
yo, I would have to offer that he was not prepared for it. He was not at least mentally prepared for it. Prepared for it. But even if he was taking headbutts or whatever the situation, for the fight to be going downhill, it's not something that he was ready for, and so he couldn't pivot the way that he needed to pivot in order to reposition, in order to regain control of the situation. Instead, he was like, "Yo, if we're gonna spin out, we're going all the way off the rails on this one." You know what I mean? And so I think that this situation here, this is saying, for to me anyway, this is saying that you have to be prepared. You have to put more emphasis on preparation than you even do protection. And it actually makes me think about my children. Teaching my children how to yell stranger danger. Teaching them how to. I remember my father told me one time when I was little, somebody walk up to you in a grocery store and say, "Don't you make a sound. You make every sound you can think of." Whatever. You make every sound you can think of. but see, because Pops was about preparation, not just protection. Right? Because he could teach me how to protect myself against that. You see somebody strange, avoid. Mm-hmm. But what he taught me was how to react in the event that you could not avoid. Right. You know what I'm saying? And that's what this situation, that's what this is about right here. All right, cool. Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. Cool. Now, I know you're not a firm believer in plan B, but plan B just got kicked in the gear. You know what I mean? When I got punched in the mouth, plan B just got kicked in the gear.
Hold up. That's a different conversation. I do believe in plan B for certain things. You're
different in this conversation. You're different in this conversation. It's the same conversation.
Yeah, no, because we're talking about boxing. I have a plan B and a plan C and a plan D. Like boxing is a little different. Like
okay. Well, given it was
a lot of pivoting.
It was a comical jab at the previous episode. You know what I mean? But this is definitely about preparation, homie. Like that's it. And I like the accountability though. I will say that. I like the accountability aspect because a lot of times, yeah, if you're playing, how could I say? Basically, you should just be accountable for your actions, whatever your plan may be. If it is to try to take somebody down and the situation doesn't go the way you plan, you know what I mean? Yeah, you get that punch in the mouth and you deserved it. And I still think, in some instances, I think kind of this is what Mike also kind of was talking about. because of the nature of the actual profession. You know what I mean? You got that playing like you're gonna come in there and bob and weave, but when that head go back, then yeah, you got to go ahead and pivot. So I really like both of them. I really dig the accountability issue, but I think the biggest one for me is the preparation. Definitely being prepared for. I don't know what's coming. I don't know what to expect, and it's gonna come because he doesn't. He definitely didn't say everybody has a plan, like unless or if. It wasn't a question about whether or not you're gonna get punched in the mouth. You know what I mean? There was no question. It was definitely coming. You was definitely gonna get punched in the mouth. It's definitely gonna disrupt the plan, but you got to regroup. You know what I mean? And I think for him in this situation, I think it's ironic that he, now mind you, again from just the limited spectatorship that I have experienced, he didn't have a plan for when he got punched in the mouth. I think that's ironic.
But again, I believe from his viewpoint, I do believe that he thought that he was getting headbutted, and so it wasn't just about the punch in the mouth. With boxing, we try to stay within if we're going to do if it's going to be a clean fight, then we're going to stay within the realm of everything that is considered to be a clean fight. Once you step outside of that, now you're talking about really injuring somebody. It's one thing. I'm here when I'm boxing, I'm trying to hurt you. I'm trying to impose my will, and I'm trying to hurt you and put you down. I'm not necessarily trying to injure you. I'm not trying to mess you up to the point that your children and your family can't recognize who you are. I'm not trying to give you brain damage. I'm not trying to do any type of long-term damage to you. I just want to do enough damage in these rounds to win this fight. That's all I want to do. But when you start headbutting somebody, you're going a little bit too far. Now, again, I am only speaking about what could have been Mike's perception at that moment. That's all that I'm speaking about right now. What could have
but
been
even still, okay,
okay,
but even still, so you think tit for tat is the way to go?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. Oh, yeah, be petty. Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, I'm gonna make sure that I was about to say my tit, but let's say I'm gonna
go ahead and finish your statement, sir.
My tat is bigger than your tit. Or is it tit? It's not tick and tack. No, it's tit for tat. TIT. It's tit for tat, right? Okay, right. So I'm gonna make sure I don't want to say my tit. I'm gonna make sure that my tat is bigger than your tit. So yeah, absolutely. I think
that be my tit.
Well, not yours. I ain't talking about yours. I don't care nothing about your tit.
It's okay. I need to do a couple push-ups. Besides, I refer to them as chestnuts. So go ahead. Go ahead.
So, but yes, I am like really, but I have to say this. I'm a little vengeful. Like, I feel like you have to pay. If you did something to me, I feel like you should have to pay. I understand God said vengeance is his. I get it. But I don't always think about that.
Okay, hold on. So would you say, since we're talking about accountability, would you say tit for tat is a method of accountability, of holding somebody accountable?
Yeah.
Oh boy. so two wrongs make a right.
No. Your wrong is going to get my right. That's what it is. That's what it is. Like all right. I don't think that in every instance that we should retaliate. But I do think in sometimes, like, all right, actually, before I say what the next thing I'm about to say, let me just say this. We got a comment from our boy Marvin Belt.
My man.
Yeah, man, that's our boy, man. Welcome back, homie. He said, "Good evening, brothers. Back for another build. I'm all ears. I see we're putting our gloves on tonight. Very interesting." Yes, we are, man. We
Yeah.
definitely are.
We kind of got no choice considering the quote is from Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying? We kind
Right,
of got no choice. So, but go
right.
ahead.
And then he's going back. He also said, "LOL, big tit." I'm talking about what we were talking about before. But all right, so for instance, let's take the Chris Rock Will Smith situation. Now,
Mhm.
Chris Rock handled that situation the way that he should have,
Mhm.
and I commend him for that. However, and don't get me wrong, because I love Will Smith. I believe everybody trying to cancel Will Smith. I believe it's ridiculous because hey, he didn't smack you. He didn't smack you. It wasn't you. So stay out of
Well,
it. Whatever. It's between those two men, but whatever, and their families, whatever. But I'll say this:
what's up?
if Will would have, if Chris Rock would have swung back and knocked Will out, he would have deserved that.
He would have deserved that, but but the bigger blow was the fact that Chris didn't.
But if you want to be mature about it, then yeah.
I mean, it was I mean, because that's yo. I think what Chris did, Chris let Will's actions, his actions alone, have held him accountable. Yeah, I mean, it was undeniable. There was nothing. I mean, I guess you could say what Chris did, but it was comedy, right? It was comedy, and obviously, sometimes jokes. I don't know what the line is between a joke and an insult. Yeah, I mean, I think it maybe depends on who's actually delivering it, right? Because if a comic is in the midst of a comedic act and he makes a statement, it's all jokes.
It also depends on who's receiving it and how they receive it.
Well, but I mean, you should be in a position to receive jokes from a joke teller.
If you see it as a joke.
But if the cat he's on stage doing jokes. That's his job.
Right. But everything ain't a joke to everybody.
Oh my God.
Welcome to the gray area.
I just that just doesn't. I mean, I get what you're saying if you're not in the midst of telling jokes, but a comedian should not have to go on stage with a T-shirt that says "Everything I say tonight is a joke."
Okay, but check this out though. If a comedian gets on stage and they're telling jokes, and then they start making jokes about child molestation or killing somebody's kid or rape or something like that, that ain't a joke. That's not funny. So now it's up to all of us who are receiving that joke to be like, you crossed the line. That's not funny. That's not a joke.
I see. I think about jokes that have been made about that stuff that have been funny, that were obvious jokes that were made by some big name cats,
Mm-hmm.
and it was funny.
Right. But again, it's back to whoever's receiving it. The way you received it as a joke. It was funny to you. To somebody else, it's a trigger. What about the person who's been raped? What about the person who has had a child that's been molested or they've been molested? What about the person who has lost their child? It's not a joke to them.
Now
They can't receive it that way.
I can understand how they might not think it's funny, right? I can understand how you might not think it's funny. But if a comedian is on stage doing his job, everything that he says is meant to be a joke. Everything ain't gonna land, It ain't gonna be funny to everybody, but it's meant to be a joke. It's not to be taken as his personal perspective. It's a joke. It's a joke. I mean, it's him making light of even. And I get it, but I get that it ain't funny to everybody. But it's still a joke.
Now,
bad joke, and I've had it happen before.
I know you have, and I'm thinking of a situation. We'll talk about it off air. I don't want to bring it up. But in that, and I don't know, are you thinking about the same thing I'm thinking about?
We're probably thinking about the same thing, and we don't have to say no names because we're talking about my son. We're talking about my son, right?
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah. And so, but he wasn't a comedian.
But he thinks he is.
Yeah, it didn't stay funny, did it? Nope.
No. But the thing is, though, these people are comedians because they're able to stand on stage and tell jokes or whatever. But what certification is there to be considered a comedian?
Being paid to do it.
Not necessarily, because there are people who are not paid to do it that stand on stage and tell jokes.
Given their goal, but they identify as a comedian. Like that's
so we can't tell somebody how to identify. If he identified as a comedian and he thought he was telling a joke, then he was telling a joke.
No, but
that's not how it was received.
Yeah, but the thing is a matter of as far as how he identified. Like, how can I say that? Like, that wasn't like that ain't your role. You know what I mean? That ain't your role. Like he's not a comedian. Wasn't a comedian. Whatever this that ain't just
that's your perspective. May not
That's his perspective.
You don't know that.
I do know that.
How do you know that?
Because we've had the conversation. I do know that.
Okay, so what are you when you're trying to make a joke?
What are you when you're trying to make a joke?
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to make a joke. You're trying to be funny.
Am I funny?
Are you funny? But right now? Funny
no,
looking?
Sure. Am I funny? Am I funny? You're funny. Am I funny? But no, am I funny?
I mean, yeah, I think you're funny.
And you're funny too, right?
I am.
Am I a comedian?
No.
Are you a comedian?
No.
But do we have the ability to make people laugh?
Yeah.
And to tell jokes?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't he?
He's not a comedian. I didn't say he can't, but he's not a comedian. He wasn't a comedian. Isn't a comedian. What I'm saying is, yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's different. If you cannot go to. I mean, you know who he is. We know who Chris Rock is. It's gonna be jokes, huh? That's it. It's gonna be jokes. And this isn't even like just across the table, because that's where I think it would get really great if you across the table from him and he's telling these jokes and he just being funny because comedians can be funny, but he's on stage. He's on stage doing a set. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Full on the intent.
But
full on the intent.
When you become a comedian, when you become somebody in the public eye, period, you've got to understand that you're going to do or say something that's going to rub somebody the wrong way, and you could possibly get smacked in the face for saying the wrong thing.
Well, I tell you what, Chris Rock had a plan. He got punched in the mouth, and he stayed the course with the plan.
Yeah.
That was what needed to happen. You know what I mean? Yeah.
He could
regardless of getting punched in the mouth, because he knew and he knows that he said things before that have been offensive. He may have never been attacked like that. But mentally, Chris was prepared. He was prepared to allow the circumstance itself to hold Will accountable. Bottom line, and matter of fact, and we can even go back to my situation. I was prepared to deal with the situation in a way to where, okay, now, even though nobody would have blamed me for choking him out, nobody would have blamed me for taking him on the porch and making him part of the porch. Nobody would have blamed me for that. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact,
hold up. We ain't just going just go past that. That was funny. Making him a part of the board.
I'm just saying. But as a matter of fact, I caught more flack for not overreacting, for not letting my anger overtake me, even though people feel I would have been justified. Mm-hmm. Justified or not, it didn't need to be addressed like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it right. didn't need to be addressed like that because he was more friend than family, but still family. Mm-hmm. So there was a consideration that should have been given, and that was given versus a stranger.
Completely off the subject. I just want to ask this question real quick. If he wasn't friend or family, mm-hmm. would you have handled it like a stranger, like he was a stranger? How would you have handled it then?
That would have been much more. I think honestly, it would have been much more of a knee-jerk reaction because I would not have been taken aback by the source.
Okay, so what if he would have said, "Hold on, wait, stop! I'm a comedian. I'm just making jokes."
Well, what do you mean? You talking about the stranger?
Yeah. After
the fact, because I can see you trying to set me up, but you saying this, I'm the comedian after you done let it spill? Nah, son. Yeah. It's time to get punched in the mouth. So if you can get out, oh wait, I'm a comedian before I can get in. All right, maybe so. Maybe. All right. I doubt it though. I ain't gonna front. I'll be a gentleman about it. I'll let you pick the teeth. I'm gonna punch you in. All right. Don't pick none in the back, because if you pick something in the back, I gotta go through all the ones in the front. All right.
Okay, hold on. Before we move on, I got a couple more comments. So, I got a comment from Janine on our Facebook. Right. So, Janine said, if they are not on stage with the intention of making people laugh, paid or not, they are not considered a comedian.
Okay. But he was on stage with the intention of making people laugh.
Yeah, true. Mm-hmm. Now I don't know if I completely agree, and I see a lot of things that Janine posts on Facebook, and for the most part, I agree with the things that you post, Janine. Mm-hmm. This one, I don't know if I necessarily agree with this one, because if a person doesn't have to be on stage to be a comedian. They can be out and about, and that's just who they are. Like, you may walk up on Kevin Hart, and maybe he starts making jokes. Mm-hmm. Maybe he starts talking about you. Like, it's not with the intention of trying to hurt you. It's just he's making jokes. It's who he is. Maybe there's some people that can't turn it off. Also, hold on. I got a couple more comments I want to get to. So Marvin said, let's make this bigger here. Okay. So Marvin said, yes, Chris Rock did handle it correctly. And yes, Will did have to become more accountable because of the non-response of Chris Rock. Yeah. Then he also said, if Chris swung back, he would have been seen just as wrong as his aggressor. Plus, if you paid attention, Will himself was laughing right before his wife got upset. So my question is, was that situation really about accountability, or was it more to it than that? And then he also said, I don't think when you're a comedian, you should not run the risk of getting punched in the mouth, because that is being your job to tell jokes. There should be precautions set up to prevent detriment. Yeah, there should be some definite precautions. Like, you got to learn how to bob and weave. Listen, here's the thing. As soon as you see somebody approaching you, look, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give everybody like a little, all right, check this out. So I told my wife two things. If ever there's a situation where there is the potential of confrontation, two things: you cannot answer, can't ask me any questions, you can't try to talk me out of it. I've already reserved in my mind something's probably about to go down. You just step away. Two things. Number one, I take my watch off. If I take my watch off and hand it to her, she knows. You take that watch, you step to the side. The
She
other
knows
thing is
what time it is. I got you.
exactly. The other thing is if my right foot goes back. If my right foot goes back, I'm now in position to fight. I'm in position to attack. I'm also in position to protect. So, so that's the precaution, everybody. Listen, if if you met with some sort of confrontation, if you are right-handed, you put your right foot back, your left hand up. We're gonna give you a quick boxing lesson. Left hand in front of you, right hand behind you. That's where your power comes from, behind you. If you're left-handed, it's switched. Okay. I got one more comment from Janine. She said, LOL, y'all was talking about regular people, but I think real comedians know better than to say off the cuff comments to random people. Okay, all right, we on the same page now, Janine. I got you. Okay. All right.
I mean, so we still somehow will end up tying this back into this quote, right? but I mean,
right. We could probably talk about the quote.
I mean, but it's certain cats in reference to the comedians, yo. Where they just know, like they're notorious. Like if you're gonna go to a show, they're like, yo, don't sit in the front row at a Joe Torre show, because he gonna get at you.
Right.
So then you want to go sit in the front row at a Joe Torre show, and you might have missed missed lotion in your ankles. He gonna point that out.
Right.
If you're upset about it because he happens to be filming his special, you don't get to walk on stage and smack him in the face. Which, by the way, Joe Torre's not really the one you probably want to do that. but it could have been Joe stayed rocked in preparation. But at any rate,
he ain't quite the same Chicago he was when Lucky beat him up. I mean, Tupac, when Lucky beat him up, he had to throw his brush. That was messed up. He had to throw his brush.
That was in the script. All right, that was in the script. Rest in peace, Tupac. Joe Torre would have balled him up. He'd have balled him up right nicely. I'm sorry, I happen to believe so. At any rate, I will say, okay, back to the quote. I definitely believe. All right, everybody got a plan to get punched in the mouth, so you have to learn how to respond to adversity. All right, and yeah, if you got a plan that includes other people and affects other people, then you got to accept being held accountable for how that's going to affect other people. And so, yeah, that could be a punch in the mouth. You know what I mean? I agree.
Yeah. Absolutely. So now,
go ahead.
So my question to you now is, how do you respond to getting punched in the mouth? Not literally, but when you're faced with a situation where you have to pivot, a real life situation where you had a plan in place, and now all of a sudden, let me see.
Well, we all got punched in the mouth, right? We all got punched in the mouth in 2019 when COVID hit. Everybody got 2020. Well, I say 2019 because I believe my wife had COVID in December of 2019 before it was declared a pandemic in the top of 2020. So
I think my wife had it too in 2019 too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We on a cruise. I believe she got on the cruise.
That super sucks. But so what I'm saying is, when COVID happened, when it was identified as a pandemic, we all got punched in the mouth.
Right.
So some people was ready to pivot. Like, for instance, that punch in the mouth gave birth to curbside deliveries. That was super duper dope. Yeah, I mean, because now you got people had to go deliveries anyway, but it was super dope. People have businesses that are just curbside. Like they maintain a smaller brick and mortar situation because it's really just like a food truck size type of establishment. It's just curbside. It gave birth to that because people have to pivot, right?
You're right.
You know,
You're right. It gave birth to OnlyFans.
Did it? Really? When did OnlyFans start? I don't know. You're smiling too hard.
Am I? I didn't.
Yeah. You can't seem to fight it either. Look at that.
Yeah, I'm trying to stop it. I'm trying to stop it. It won't stop.
I don't think you can.
I'm gonna try again.
Hold on, wait a second. Do you got an OnlyFans account? Are you pitting your toenails on OnlyFans? Is that what's going on? What is happening? What are we witnessing right now?
So that ain't none of your business.
Oh my gosh.
No, I ain't got no OnlyFans. Okay. And I don't subscribe to it either. I mean, but I think that the people that's on OnlyFans and they getting money, hey, do your thing. If people are willing to pay to watch you do whatever it is that you're doing, get your money. Get your money. Yeah. But it did give birth to OnlyFans. Like that's a way of pivoting. That's people got punched in the face, got punched in the mouth, and that was how they reacted to it. So
and I think that the way that situation, the way that you're able to react is that, like you were saying in the beginning, you have to be prepared for getting punched in the mouth. Like again, this quote does not speak to it being a question, does not speak to it being a possibility or even a probability. You're gonna get punched in the mouth. You know what I mean? And so you just, what's up?
I'm sorry. Ma said, and teleworking, another way there'll be.
I was gonna get to that. Definitely, teleworking, you know, the 100% remote situation is huge. It's in space where I actually worked in a place previously where they were like, nope, we can't do it because it's not secure, right? And then the pandemic hit, and all of a sudden they found a way to secure it.
They did.
You know what I mean? So, you know, I think that all in all, you just have to be prepared for it. So, and especially in this situation, I mean, I'm saying for Mike to be saying it because he's talking in reference to a boxer, right? You're gonna get punched in the mouth. So, what you need to know outside of boxing, life is gonna happen. You're gonna run into some things. That's why they say you should have a rainy day account. You know what I mean? Or like I said, your boy was talking about being war ready. You gotta stay war ready. You can't just be in a position of protection. You gotta be in a position of preparation. Like you can't just build a wall. You gotta be armed behind that wall. Because what happens if they come through? Over, under, around. You gotta be strapped to be prepared for that situation. So and the thing is, I guess this right here, like he says it like it's almost like it's an unexpected thing, but it's an inevitable situation, right? Because you know he says it as if the punch in the mouth, it can be an interruption, but it ain't gonna stop nothing.
Well, I think that he was speaking from a place of him punching people in the face or in the mouth, and it's stopping them.
Okay. All right.
That's what he was used to, just putting people down.
Okay, you're right. Okay, so from a very literal perspective, in this situation, if he's talking about a punch in the mouth being a terminal situation, then there really is nothing that you can do.
Right.
You know what I mean? There really is nothing that you can do. But if you're just talking about from the perspective of life unexpectedly occurring, and sending you down a road that isn't paved, that isn't well lit, that you didn't plan to travel, then you just have to be prepared for that. And the resilience, like you talked about earlier, the resilience that's necessary has to say that, you know, okay, cool, I got hit. I'm gonna have to tell that story later after I succeed. You know what I mean?
Right. And I also think that Mike was probably, and of course I don't want to speak for him, but I believe that he was speaking from a place of also being punched in the mouth and having to pivot. He had a plan. He lost his trainer, who was like a father figure to him. He had a very, very rough upbringing. Mike was used to getting punched in the mouth. and just having to pivot. He probably had a plan for everything, and then life happened. Life punched him in the mouth. You have to continuously pivot. So I honestly believe that he was speaking from a place of understanding what it means to have a plan and to get punched in the mouth. So by
you think he
him
included
knowing
himself?
this, I believe he did. I
Okay.
believe he did. Yeah, because so going back to what you were saying in the beginning, I think that removes the arrogance. I think you're speaking from a very real place at that point. Like, I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to get punched in the mouth and have to pivot. Now, if we're talking about a life situation, something happens in life. So let's go back to him losing his trainer, who was like a father figure to him. He dies. You have to pivot. So that's the punch in the mouth. But he pivots and still becomes the baddest man on the planet. In a boxing match, you got 12 rounds to try to figure this out. Maybe 12 rounds. Unless I put you down or stop this fight before 12 rounds. But you have a very small window of time to try to pivot and to recover from this punch in the mouth that I just gave you. So it's different from life. That's different when we're talking about boxing. That's different because you don't have very long. Now you can try to figure this out for your next fight. You can take what you learned from this fight into your next fight, but this fight right here, nah, it's done deal.
Now, what I would have to say about that last comment in reference to being, it is different, but the difference is that you have a finite, like a defined, not just a finite. In 12 rounds it's going to be over, right? Or at the most in 12 rounds it's going to be over. In life, you got no idea. You know what I mean? You got no idea. You can get up and fall down right now, and be done. You know what I'm saying? So but I do agree, like you said, that it does erase the arrogance if he was speaking of if he included himself, 100%. If he was including himself, then he's saying everybody got a plan. They get punched in the mouth. The rest of that statement is because I've been punched in the mouth. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with that 100%. If he included himself, then it wasn't a situation of arrogance. If not, then it definitely was. It is what it is. But bottom line being,
or competitive.
Stay prepared, people. What do you say?
Or competitive, or whatever.
Yeah, you don't fully believe that yourself. That's why you couldn't say it with a straight face.
I do.
It's out there now.
Because I have to. What'd you say?
It's out there now. It's on video.
I guess I have to agree to a certain degree that it does take a certain level of arrogance. But I don't know. Like, because for me, I've seen the competitive person that speaks from a place of being competitive, and then I've seen the competitive person who was also arrogant. So, but I've just never seen Mike as an arrogant person.
But both things, I mean, it's a matter of the balance of what the ratio is. You know what I mean? So if you are 2 parts arrogance, one third competitive, that's going to be evident. That's going to show. But if the ratio is reversed, you know what I mean, and you 2/3 competitive, 1 part arrogance, that arrogance that's there, it's accepted as a part of the mix that makes you competitive. All right, it's cool. It don't have to be a negative situation.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'll accept that. Yeah. I agree with that. All right. Yeah.
Cool. Stop making me say extra stuff, man.
I mean, sometimes I don't be getting it at first. Like I'll be trying to pull you over to the gray area. You trying to pull
I hate the gray.
I know, but what happens is I try to pull you over to the gray area. You try to pull me over to the black and white. And then we figure out somehow that this is red. So that's
all right. All right. I don't know what you're talking about right now with the whole red part, but nonetheless, I understand. We found a compromise. Interestingly enough, yeah, we found when the smoke clears, we find a compromise. So it's cool. But yeah, so all right. Well, this I'm looking at the time. It is definitely time to wrap up episode 19. Yeah, 19. Look, man, I be having so much fun. I don't be remembering what number it is. That'd be the truth of the matter. I just don't remember what number it is when we be sitting and we be wrapping it up and we be chatting it up, and I don't recall. But nonetheless, we're gonna bring this to a close, and we are looking forward to episode 20 on next week. And where the quote is from a cat named Rex Hudler. Apparently, he played for the Royals. He's a baseball player. He was a commentator from way back in the day. But actually, so he's the one that originated this quote. But I got this quote from a book that I was reading called A Resolution for Men. And I like the fact that it was pointed directly at men. So the quote itself is, "Be a fountain, not a drain." Right? But next week when we get to talking about it, I want to put some emphasis on the way that the book was saying, in the way that a man should be a fountain, not a drain. You know what I mean? I think we need to put some emphasis on that. I think we really need to bust that open and let cats know just how they should be given more than they take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I really like that. If for no other reason, I want to be a fountain just so people can throw money at me.
You know what? You are certainly a reason to have another conversation. Just so you know, you are not just a conversation piece. You are pieces of many, many conversations, sir. Oh my God.
Thank you. I will not take that as a punch in the mouth.
Jesus. All right. Well, this has been again episode 19 of Quotes and Mirrors. We do thank you for listening. We do ask you to go ahead and continue to view YouTube, Quotes and Mirrors, Instagram, Quotes and Mirrors, Facebook, Quotes and Mirrors. Just Google Quotes and Mirrors, and that's us right there. Right here. Hey, but you can't say spirit fingers. You can't say spirit fingers.
You can't say spirit fingers. Can't say spirit fingers. Unfortunately, we are not, and I guess we'll talk about this off air, but we're not filming on Instagram anymore.
Okay. Well, so much for not.
Okay. As of right now, we're not. As of right now, in the past few weeks, we're not. We haven't been, and we can't right now. But we'll talk about that. But hopefully, apparently. I'm hoping that maybe by next week or week after, something we figure some stuff out, and we can get this Instagram thing going again. But we have to. We have been punched in the mouth. So we just got to pivot and figure this thing out, but we'll get to it.
No problem. But you know what? YouTube, okay, just YouTube, Facebook. We're there. All right, cool. So no worries. We'll talk about this other situation and we'll pivot. You heard the boss, because I'm just a co-host, so you heard the boss. Okay. So yes, but we appreciate y'all listening. We appreciate your comments as always. And we're going to see you next time. I am Uncommonterry.
And I'm Tyrell James. And on that note, and I quote, peace out.
Peace.